This video is a bit of a test. Over the last 3 months, we've done our normal review of books, trying to select our next one book, one college text. We've taken our notes and our reviews and uploaded them into Google's Notebook LM. Notebook LM is a tool that summarizes text for you, but it will also generate a podcast based on the text that you've uploaded. And we thought this might be a neat way to kind of test this out and to share the books that we've reviewed. So you'll have to let us know what you think.
Welcome to our deep dive into the book selection process for Moraine Valley Community College's One Book, One College program for 2025 to 2026.
Oh, it's a fascinating process to really kind of peek behind the curtain.
It is, you're right.
Yeah.
Imagine getting to see how they choose one book to spark all these discussions and connections across the entire college community for a whole year.
And this program has been running for over 20 years, which is pretty impressive.
I know.
It really speaks to the power of, these shared reading experiences.
Exactly.
And the impact that a carefully chosen book can have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the program itself involves everyone at the college, from students and faculty to staff, all reading the same book and then participating in all sorts of events and discussions around it.
Right.
But here's the thing. While everyone is enjoying Disability Visibility by Alice Wong, the book for the 2024-2025 program, the selection team is already hard at work choosing the book for next year.
Yeah, they have to have a decision made by January.
They do.
It's
a big deal.
It's a pretty intensive process, especially this year, because the theme for 2025-2026 is Are We Doomed? Confronting the End of the World.
Wow.
Which was inspired by a thought-provoking course at the University of Chicago.
Makes you wonder what kind of books they would even consider for a theme like that.
Right. I mean, especially in today's world with everything going on.
I know.
Well, one natural starting point was a book that kind of directly explored that theme, Speculative Everything, Design, Fiction, and Social Dreaming by Dunne and Raby.
Okay.
It takes this really interesting approach to design by looking at it through this futuristic lens and even challenging readers to kind of imagine, these alternative realities.
So using design as a way to confront these big existential questions.
Exactly. But ultimately, the selection team felt like it was a bit too technical and maybe better suited for a graduate seminar.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially when you're trying to choose a book that will resonate with a much wider audience. Speaking of big questions, what about God, Human, Animal, Machine by Meghan O'Giblin? I have to admit, that title alone has me intrigued.
Oh, yeah. It's a fascinating read.
Is it?
It delves into how technology is reshaping our understanding of existence, consciousness, the search for meaning, all that good stuff.
Okay, but if it was so fascinating, why wasn't it chosen?
Well, while it definitely grapples with some big ideas, the selection team felt it was a bit too personal and meditative in nature.
Okay.
Maybe better for individual reflection rather than a community-wide reading experience.
Yeah, sometimes a book that's great for solo contemplation isn't the best for sparking dialogue.
Right.
So what about Ways of Being by James Bridle? I heard this one was a strong contender.
Oh, and for good reason.
Oh, yeah.
Bridle presents this really expansive view of intelligence, going beyond just humans to include animals, plants, and even machines.
Really?
It really pushes you to kind of reconsider what it means to be intelligent in the first place.
Oh.
Especially with all the advancements we're seeing in AI these days, that seems incredibly relevant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if it was such a strong contender, why didn't they pick it?
Well, the selection team felt that it was maybe just a little too complex to easily integrate into a single year's worth of coursework.
Okay.
It's definitely a book with a lot of depth.
I can see how that would be a factor, especially when you're aiming for something that faculty can really incorporate into their teaching in a meaningful way.
Right.
Now, Notes on Complexity by Theise sounds like it might have presented a similar challenge.
It does, in a way.
Yeah.
It's kind of a deep dive into complexity theory, exploring the interconnectedness of everything in the universe.
Yeah.
It really encourages you to think about systems and patterns in a whole new light.
It does sound fascinating. Why wasn't it chosen?
The selection team felt it read more like a textbook than a book that would spark a broader conversation.
Right.
It might be a great fit for a dedicated course, but perhaps not as engaging for a broader audience.
I see. So back to that balance between intellectual depth and accessibility.
Right, exactly.
Now, the selection team also considered a couple of books that hit a little closer to home. The Daily Show. Inside the Transformative Reign of Chicago's Richard M. Daley by Forrest Claypool.
Okay.
And the city is up for grabs. How Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot led and lost a city in crisis by Gregory Royal Pratt.
Right.
Both of these focus on Chicago politics, but from very different eras.
Yeah.
It seems like a unique approach to the theme, especially for a community college based in the Chicago area.
It is, and the selection team debated these books quite a bit.
Really?
The Daily Show provides that insider's look at Mayor Richard M. Daley's time in office.
Right.
While The City is up for grabs, examines the challenges and controversies of Mayor Lori Lightfoot's term.
So it's like a glimpse into the complexities and the evolution of Chicago politics.
Precisely. But ultimately, the selection team felt that these books might have taken the program in a different direction than intended. You know, they were looking for something with a broader thematic resonance, something that could spark conversations beyond just the local political landscape.
So something that could speak to those universal human experiences, rather than focusing solely on local events.
Right.
Okay, moving on. It looks like they considered a whole stack of books on government and economics. First up is Paradox of Democracy by Sean Illing and Zachary Gershberg.
Okay.
What's paradoxical about democracy?
Well, this book explores the inherent tension between free speech and the potential for that very freedom to be used to undermine democracy itself.
Oh, wow, that's timely.
Right. It's a timely topic, especially with all the discussion around misinformation and political polarization.
Yeah, no kidding. It feels like we're constantly bombarded with that these days.
Right.
But why wasn't it chosen?
Well, the selection team felt that while it was an incredibly relevant topic, its focus on government and technology didn't quite encompass all the themes they were hoping to address.
Oh, I see.
They were looking for a book with a broader scope, one that could engage with a wider range of human experiences and concerns.
So a matter of scope and thematic breadth.
Exactly.
Makes sense. What about The Guarantee? Inside the Fight for America's Next Economy by Natalie Foster.
This book advocates for government-backed guarantees for essential needs like housing, healthcare, and a living wage.
Wow.
It's a bold argument for economic justice and a different approach to building a more equitable society.
That's a kind of significant proposition.
It is.
Why wasn't it chosen?
The selection team appreciated its ambition and its focus on economic inequality, but they felt it presented one particular solution among many, and they wanted to encourage a broader conversation about the future of society rather than advocating for a specific political stance.
Yeah, so back to that idea of fostering dialogue and avoiding promoting a specific agenda.
Right, exactly.
Okay, next on our list is Young and Restless, The Girls Who Sparked America's Revolutions by Maddie Kahn. This one highlights the often overlooked role of teenage girls in driving social change throughout American history, from the American Revolution to movements like Black Lives Matter. It's a powerful testament to their activism and their courage.
It is.
That's inspiring. Why wasn't it chosen?
Well, the selection team loved the book's focus on history and empowerment,
Okay.
but ultimately decided that it was a bit too focused on the past. You know, they were looking for something that would resonate with current challenges and spark conversations about the future.
So connect the past to the present, but also look ahead.
Exactly.
Now we come to two books that tackle a very sensitive but important topic. Fascism.
Okay.
Fascism. A Warning by Madeleine Albright and How Fascism Works by Jason Stanley both explore the rise of authoritarianism and its threat to democratic societies.
Right.
These seem especially relevant in today's world.
They do, and the selection team recognized their importance.
Okay.
However, they ultimately felt they were a bit too politically charged for a program like One Book, One College.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know?
Choosing a book that's seen as aligning with a particular political viewpoint
Right.
could potentially hinder that open dialogue and alienate some members of the community.
Exactly.
But it sounds like they were trying to find a book that could engage with these complex issues without being overly partisan.
Right.
Okay, we're getting close to the end of our list of contenders.
Okay.
Last in this category is The Age of Insecurity. Coming Together as Things Fall Apart by Astra Taylor.
Okay.
This book delves into that pervasive feeling of insecurity that so many people experience in modern society, exploring its root causes, from economic anxieties to the erosion of social safety nets.
Right.
It's a very timely and relatable exploration of a very real phenomenon.
It is.
It feels like that sense of uncertainty and insecurity is something a lot of people are grappling with right now.
Absolutely.
So why wasn't this book chosen?
The selection team found it insightful, but they felt its tone was a bit too heavy for a program like One Book, One College.
Okay.
You know, they were looking for something that could inspire hope and possibility, even while confronting these difficult questions.
I can see their point.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're trying to foster that sense of shared purpose and possibility, A book that focuses too heavily on the negative can be overwhelming.
Right.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. We've looked at a wide range of books that were considered for the 2025-2026 program, all grappling with the theme of Are We Doomed?
And it's been fascinating to see the variety of perspectives and approaches that were represented in these books.
Absolutely. It really highlights the thoughtful and deliberate process behind choosing a book that can really engage an entire college community.
Right.
I'm sure you're wondering,
Yeah.
which book did they choose?
Well, before we reveal the chosen one, there are actually a couple more books we should discuss. Remember those 2 AI-focused books we mentioned earlier?
Right. Co-Intelligence. Living and Working with AI by Ethan Mollick and Clara, and The Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. AI seems to be on everyone's mind these days.
Oh, yeah.
And these books offer such different perspectives on it.
They really do. Co-Intelligence explores how we can collaborate and thrive alongside AI, viewing it as a potential partner rather than a threat.
Interesting.
It encourages us to think about how we can work together with AI to solve problems and create a better future.
So it's more about the practical applications of AI and how we can adapt to this rapidly changing landscape. That's definitely relevant.
Absolutely.
Especially in today's world. But why wasn't it chosen?
Well, the selection team felt that while it offered valuable insights into the practical side of AI, it didn't delve as deeply into the ethical, social, and philosophical questions surrounding artificial intelligence.
Okay.
They were looking for a book that would spark a wider range of discussions.
I see. So they wanted something that would really challenge readers to think critically about the implications of AI, not just how to use it.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Now, Clara and the Sun sounds completely different, a novel told from the perspective of an AI companion. That's a really unique approach.
It is, and it allows Ishiguro to explore some really profound questions about consciousness, empathy, and what it means to be human, all through the eyes of this AI character named Clara.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
It almost makes you wonder if we can learn something about ourselves by looking at the world through the lens of AI.
Right. It's really interesting.
Why wasn't it chosen, though?
Well, the selection team loved its originality and how it humanized AI.
Okay.
But they felt its focus was a bit too narrow for the one-book program.
Okay.
They were looking for a book that could weave together multiple themes,
Right.
creating a more multifaceted and interconnected discussion.
So they were searching for a book that could really spark conversations on multiple levels, connecting different areas of knowledge and experience.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about all the books that didn't quite make the cut.
We have.
Now, for the moment of truth.
Yes.
The chosen book for the 2025-2026 Book 1 college program at Moraine Valley Community College is...
Drum roll, please.
Okay,
The Dispossessed. An Ambiguous Utopia by Ursula K. Le Guin.
The Dispossessed. Okay, I have to admit that one wasn't on my radar.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Sure. It's a science fiction novel that explores themes of anarchy, utopia, and the clash between different societal structures.
Okay.
It follows the story of Shivek, a physicist who travels between 2 planets. Anares, an anarchist society built on cooperation and equality, and Uras, a more hierarchical and capitalist world.
So it's almost like a thought experiment exploring different ways of organizing society and what it means to live a good life.
Exactly. And it does so in a way that's both intellectually stimulating and emotionally engaging. Le Guin's writing is just beautiful, and her characters are incredibly complex, even though they live in a world that's vastly different from our own.
I'm starting to see why the selection team chose this book.
Yeah.
It seems like it has the potential to spark so many conversations
It does.
about politics, ethics, the future of society, even what it means to be human.
Absolutely. And I think what makes it especially relevant to the Are We Doomed theme is that it doesn't offer easy answers.
Right.
It really challenges readers to think critically about the choices we make, both individually and collectively,
Okay.
and how those choices shape the world we live in.
So it's not just about contemplating whether or not we're doomed, but about exploring the agency we have in shaping our own future.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes The Dispossessed such a perfect fit for the One Book, One College program. It's a book that can bring people together, even as it challenges them to think differently about the world around them.
I love that.
Yeah.
Bringing people together through challenging ideas, that's the essence of a great book club, right?